All right, about time to get started. Hello, hello. Welcome. How's everyone doing? Hope you had a good day. Good day, good evening. Hello, hello. Oh, we got some big stuff today. I think we're gonna get to the mystery of the epitaph, which I tried to solve today at work. I will say I failed. But I will go through my thought process and we can see at least how close I was. And then we'll play the episode out. And then if I have a eureka moment during the episode, yeah, we can go from there. But ultimately, I was not able to figure out the mystery of the epitaph. And frankly, I think I was just missing one piece of it. I think I might have had a good chunk of pieces. And I just couldn't work backwards. I couldn't work forwards. I couldn't get there. And I think there was just one crucial piece of information that I was missing. It makes me wonder if it was in fact solvable. I'm sure it was by like the strict definition of the word. But I'm also wondering like what you had to have remembered. Because I was actually going through backlogs and actually rewatching certain scenes. Trying to get some information to find this hidden thing. And I could not for the life of me find it. So hopefully it wasn't just on some throwaway line in like a random episode. But we'll see. We'll see. Do a couple dulls first. Whoa, Playcom resubscribed with Prime. Thank you for the 31 months. I thought you just resubbed, didn't you? You resubbed with Prime 3 days ago? Well, thank you again. Hey, Evan, how's it going? All right, Bandle. 1994, 159 million views. Easy. Oh. Banger. Nailed it. That's a banger, though. I mean, that is an easy one, right? That's a par 1. Everyone got that in 1. Crazy. The base actually makes it a little harder, I think. And then, of course, here, if you're not getting it, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Crossword. Yeah. Throws as a fishing line. Cast. Omega's opposite. Alpha. Hybrid fruit similar to an aprium. Get the shampoo out. Rinse. Signed as a contract. Island that lends its name to a style of pants. Capri. Betting every last poker chip all in. Moxie. Spunk. This is inked. And this is plum. It's one of those days. Happily full sated. Pluot? What's a pluot? Oh, it's a plum and an apricot. It's stupid. Connection. Can I get a waiter? 1 pluot, please. Gamble, player, Howard, Johnson. Judge, Noble, Duke. There's one piece of the puzzle where the only mention so far is what seemed like a throwaway line. I believe that. And that is probably what I missed. Brown, Smith, electronic, count, Gamble, regard, consider, count, judge. Team. Player, Duke, Noble, Brown, upright, young, grand, Grandstand. Stand upright. Johnson, Brown, Howard, Smith. Last names. Okay, no. One away, though. Young. Last names. Not one away. So it's Smith and two of these. Smith, Brown, Johnson, Young. Also not one away. Smith, Howard, Young. Wait. I don't know. Kinds of pianos. Electronic, grand, player, upright. U.S. colleges. Brown, Duke, Howard, Smith. And second names and companies with ampersands. Procter Gamble, Howard Johnson, Noble, Barnes and Noble. I don't know. Oh, Johnson and Johnson, Barnes and Noble, something and Young. I don't know. This one sucked. Every connection sucks, low key. Dark Fire. Puccina. Nope, we're already screwed. This is Houndoom. Ice Dark. Schneasel. Dark Legendary. Dark Cry, of course. How is Dark Rye not a Dark Legendary? It's in his name. Box office game. I hate Pokemon. Box office game. Canon. 3 mil. 18 mil total. Third week. November 30th, 1984. Oh, there's no way. Chuck Norris. What was that movie that he was in? Not Bloodsport, right? Is he in? He's in Bloodsport, right? The war's not over until the last man comes home. Oh, what is this? This is, oh my god. Give me a... American servicemen still being held captive in Vietnam. And it's up to one man to bring them home in this blistering, fast-paced action adventure starring martial arts superstar Chuck Norris. While the daring adventurers escape from Vietnamese, POW camp, Special Forces Colonel James Braddock is on a mission to locate the remaining MIAs. Missing in action. Orion Pictures. Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is Running Man. This is... Too late for Terminator. This is Total Recall. Tagline me. Your future is in its hands. Your future is in its hands? The post-apocalyptic range is teleported aside. Oh. Terminator was 84? Wow. I thought it was like closer to 90. I should have maybe known. No, 38 million is not an insane gross, right? Like, maybe back then. Helen Slater, no shot. Her first great adventure. After losing a powerful orb, Kara, Superman's cousin... Warner Bros. That's funny. They both look like George Burns. Movies were so cooked in the 80s. George Burns is back as God, but oops, here he is as Satan too. A young rock star is ready to sell his soul to Satan, and Satan is too happy to oblige. Oops! Seems the fellow was watched over by God as a baby, so now the Almighty and his nemesis have to duke it out over the soul. Budget $0. What is this? Is this some Neil Breen shit? Oh god, you devil. Holy man. We gotta put this on at the Climax Hotel? Yes. That's so the devil. This looks like a banger-ass movie. This is like old school Neil Breen. I'm in there. Yeah, let's get it. Okay, last one. Atlantic, Catherine Mary Stewart. They came, they shopped, they saved the world. Two girls from the valley wake up to find their passing comet has eradicated their world and left behind a mysterious red dusk and a pack of cannibal mutants. With the help of a friendly truck driver, the girls save the Earth from a villainous think tank, karate chop their way through flesh-eating zombies, and of course find time to go to the mall. This also sounds like a banger. Night of the Comet. Sure. Framed. Lady on a Train. Is this Harry Potter? Disney. The movie about Disney? Oh, is this, what's it called? What's the one with Tom Hanks where he's Walt Disney? Saving Mr. Banks? Got it. Nailed it. Hey, Ditz. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So, on the topic of solving the epitaph. Now that some people have rolled in here. I was on this website all day today. Because here's my string of logic. Number one. Everybody who solved the epitaph had to go look at a map. Had to go look at an atlas. So it is definitely something that needs to be gleaned from a map. Fact number two. We know that Kinzo, hometown, has to do with it. Behold the Sweetfish River that runs through my hometown. We also know that his hometown, while he was literally born in Odawara, the family does not believe that it is Odawara. Unless he's being sarcastic in it, which I don't think he is because Ava solved it. And also, Baron Castell solved it, or Farito Erica solved it. She knows nothing of Kinzo's past. So there's two ways to get to the location that you need to check on a map. The first way is knowing Kinzo's hometown. Frito, Erica, Fog. The first way is knowing Kinzo's hometown, which the family had the privilege of doing. The second way is the Sweetfish River comment. I could not for the life of me decode that Sweetfish River comment. Sweetfish are native to East Asia. I did look that up. Sweetfish have the name, let me look it up again. But I didn't get, you can see my Google search history is all this garbage. They're native to East Asia and they're called Ayus. 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 Sweetfish. Ayu. Riverfish. Right? So, I didn't get much out of this. But I did think, okay, Sweetfish sounds like Swedish. So behold the Swedish river that runs through my hometown, right? So I went over to Sweden and I started looking around. I won't waste your time. I got nowhere with this. I won't waste your time, but I'm not going to pretend like that's not where my head went. Okay? So then I'm like, okay, I don't know his hometown. Sweetfish were native to Hokkaido. That was said by George in chapter 1. I looked back and I searched everything that said about Sweetfish and stuff. Sweetfish are native to Hokkaido, I believe. And that's a place that he totally could have had, had a a good childhood or whatever. And so I searched around here a little bit. Didn't really find much. It said follow that river down. So, I mean, this is a pretty big area. I didn't really find anything going on here. I will admit, I probably didn't look as hard as I could have. But, yeah, I didn't. Now, actually, now that I look, Nikapu... Because the epitaph then goes on to say, you will follow that river down, you will find a village. In that village, check the shore. So I was checking all the shores, and the two will make it known to you, or something like that. Two. It had to do with two. And two in Japanese is ni. So I was looking for things with ni in the name. And so ni kapu, Kappu, might actually be something here. However, I didn't follow this path earlier, and I'm not getting anything immediately. It seems like it would jump out at you if it was something to know. So I don't think it's that. So then I'm like, okay, I got kind of nothing else to go off of. Let me actually go to Nijima. He built Rokenjima outside of Nijima. Nijima, I think, is around here somewhere. Yep. He built Rokenjima outside of Nijima because they've mentioned that they've flown there a couple times. Maybe Nijima was where... And here's Odawara up here, by the way. I'm quite aware. So he grew up in Odawara... He was born in Odawara. But then, like, Nijima's not too far off from that. And then what do I see but the Kozushima village just to the south of Nijima? And I'm like, oh, that looks like a village. So I zoomed in on this. And I looked for something that could be, well, something that wasn't outright written in 6 characters, but could be written in 6 characters. And so from here, and again, I'm looking at the coast, and then going off of that even further, the coast, find the shore that the two will let you know of. This over here is 2 pretty prominent islands, eh? Right? These 2 little whatevers, Tadane Island and its partner over here. So if the shore of the village near the 2 is what we're trying to look at, I was looking at Sanyu Kayama as maybe the code for the key. Sanyu Kayama, though, in almost no way that I could twist it. In this case, I tried to get it twisted. In almost any way I could twist it. So I said, okay, how can we say this as 6 characters? Well, how many unique characters are there? There's SANUKYM. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 unique characters are in this word. So that doesn't quite express it as 6 characters. Okay, well, san is 3 in Japanese, right? So 3 UKAYAMA. And then if we take out the A's, you get 3 UKAYM, which is 6 characters. What does it mean? I have no idea. I tried mixing this around a little bit. I tried, putting it in an anagram displayer, and I didn't get anything out of that. But I said, okay, maybe these are the characters that you have to remove from the first Twilight. Well, then I didn't know what the first Twilight was supposed to be. Rosa mentioned that the first Twilight was supposed to be the start of a 10-day journey, which Erica also said she had figured out because, of course, she's just the smartest and the best. So, if it's the start of a 10-day journey, I don't know what you would actually... I don't know what that was actually referring to. I didn't know if that was referring to... like, where are you starting the journey from? So then I went to thinking... Oh, I have other ones that could also be expressed as 6 characters here, by the way. If you take Sawajiri and take only the unique characters, you get SAWJIR, right? That's 6 unique characters as well. In an anagram thing, it doesn't give you anything. So But it does come to 6 characters if you take out the uniques. And there was one more here that came out to 6 if you took out the extraneous characters. I don't remember which one it was, but it essentially made the word mangy when you took out the extraneous characters. Let me see if I can find it. Gotta have an E in it. And a G. No. I put it in an anagram thing and it gave me mangy. That's how I... Is it this? No, there's no M in that. Is it this? M-A-N-G... No. This. It was this. Naganeyama. Naganeyama was, if you took out all the extraneous characters... N-A-G-E-Y-M is also a 6-character thing that you can get out of things on this island. If you stretch your imagination a little bit. There might have been one more, but this got me nowhere because I didn't know from what I was supposed to be striking these letters. So I thought about what would the first Twilight be. I thought literally the expression, the first Twilight. Because this is 13 characters, which they said you need to have 13 characters. And they also said it was kind of obvious, right? So the first Twilight is 13 characters, I think. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Sorry. First Twilight is 13 characters. And I didn't see any real way to get to anything from removing these characters from this. You know, I kind of tried, like this one's kind of close actually. So you can remove, but you won't remove 6. Also, First Twilight does not have 13 unique characters. It has 13 separate characters. So then I went The Golden Witch, which is 5 plus 6 plus 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, it's 11. I had the on something. I don't remember what it was. But I had Golden Witch, which is 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 11 characters, which they said it might also be. And then again, I took to this and I was like, I don't really see what I can remove. So then I'm like, okay, well, if I can't really get there from the forefront, if I can't get from the first Twilight onward, let me try to work backwards. And if I work backwards, wait. Yeah, if I work backwards, I need to get, to the third Twilight, which is, on the third Twilight, those that remain will praise my name. So I'm like, what name would be praised? This is written by Kinzo, so I thought Kinzo, I thought Ushiromiya, and I thought Goldsmith. These are the things that you could work to become in the third Twilight. The one that makes the most sense here is Kinzo, because it's 5 characters. And then there are 5 additional Twilights where one thing is killed, on and on and on afterwards. So Kinzo made the most sense to me. So then I wanted to work backwards from Kinzo to get to the first Twilight, having removed some of these letters. Which I couldn't really get to doing. And it made me think that none of these were right. Right? So, like you could put this in an anagram generator, and you don't get much. Actually, I don't think I did put these into anagram solvers. Anonymize, monkeying. If these give me anything. Warrison, no. Because I don't expect it to all be Like, I expect it to be a phrase for the 3 is just asinine. Yeah, so see, I'm not getting anything out of that. So I think the problem is either, because this feels kind of right. I don't know, this might be right, but it also almost gets you there because Odawara is like right here. And Odawara, they said almost certainly, where is it? It's like around here somewhere. They said almost certainly Odawara was not the childhood place that he beloved. And so, yeah, I don't really know. And so then I started looking around for maybe something else that was said about Kinzo, like, because they said, oh, a really happy childhood memory. And I tried to watch, like, every Kinzo scene that I could. I was control-effing Kinzo. I was control-effing Genji, because I know Kinzo and Genji were friends for a long time. I was control-effing freaking childhood and, like, child. That wasn't coming up. And so then I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's the scene at the beginning of episode 5 when he was dying. That didn't seem to help. So I don't know if, because, and then I had one more thought. I thought to the scene where they were talking in the sea, and Berncastel said it's not been mentioned where his hometown was. It's not been said in name. None of the fragments was it said. And then Lambda Delta said, well, it's supposed to be a hard riddle. If it were, I think she said, if it were smooth, or that's the point. She said it's supposed to be a hard riddle. That's the point. Oops, that's another clue. It's supposed to be a hard riddle. That's the point. So I'm like, what does that mean? And I couldn't come up with anything. So I think that's about the end of my line for what it is. I couldn't find a place based on Sweet Fish River. I couldn't find Kinzo's hometown in any of the previous dialogue. I didn't know where else to look. And I don't know what you would call the first Twilight, if not just the words first Twilight. Yeah, that's about as far as I was able to get. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad. Based on what you just said, point could be interpreted as point, like a kind of location, but past that, I don't know. Yeah. What's up, Aura? You're the GOAT? Thank you. I appreciate that. Does that mean I'm close? Or does that mean I'm, like, way off? Yeah, I guess we should just watch. Right? I think if I'm close, I can be satisfied. Do I want? No, I don't want you. Of course I don't want you to answer that. I think if I'm close, I will be satisfied. And I think we just read and I pop off a little bit if I'm close. I feel like if I knew what the first Twilight was, I could totally get there. Or vice versa. Like, this is not a coincidence, dude. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see my screen anymore. But Kozushima Village, the thing named Kozushima Village just to the south of Nijima, is, like, insane on a map. But enough talk. A wise man once said, enough talk. Let's get to it. I'm content with the amount of effort I put in. My workplace is not content with the amount of effort I put in. Was in the kitchen. Did you solve the epitaph? No. But I might have been close. I will say the Japanese player have already seen a very big hint to Kinzo's hometown that overseas viewers would not pick up. Ah, interesting. Well, let's see. But I did not solve the epitaph, and I think the piece I'm missing is the phrase or word that the first Twilight alludes to. It seemed we've managed to make it through the first day. Natsuhi could be seen in the study. When she muttered as though to herself, gold butterflies appeared and formed the shape of a person. Yeah, if you get it from English, you are basically working backwards. Get it from English, you're basically working backwards. Interesting, okay. We mustn't let our guards down. I can't imagine we'll last through tomorrow if we simply sit around here. So as I suspected, simply saying Father's in a bad mood and refuses to come out won't be enough to deceive them completely. Indeed. It seems last year left them quite suspicious. Because of that, the toxin has expanded and is coiling itself around the study, growing ever tighter. I imagine it goes beyond mere suspicions raised last year. That's right. The toxin has grown too thick to be explained away by that alone. Someone must have suspected Kinzo's death since last year, and is strongly intent on exposing that secret at this year's Families Conference. Does that mean we didn't have them fully deceived even a full year ago? Fortunately, it's probably best to assume that, given our current situation. The typhoon will remain here tomorrow, and the boat will not come for them until the day after. In short, we must endure for another 36 hours at the very least. It may not be visible to your eyes, Natsuhi, but the closed room barrier sealing this room was once very firm. Tonight, however, it has been worn down almost to the point of crumbling, like dry leaves awaiting a windstorm. As in, you know enough of the end intermediate results that you figure out what you need to get there rather than figuring out the later steps for you. Yeah, that makes sense. And I figured that kind of had to be the case. No, the storm is already here. Natsuhi-sama, I propose that we switch from the closed room barrier to something else. What do you mean by that? Are you suggesting we change our plan? That is correct. Regilia and I will reconstruct a barrier similar to last year's. In other words, we'll take Kinzo out of the study and have him tightrope walk from shadow to shadow, where the toxin can't reach, just like last year. It may be dangerous, but I would like to second her proposal. Are you joking? Do you truly intend to change the plan this far in? That's my favorite, the pivot. When one realizes they cannot withstand a siege, they must consider the option of abandoning the castle. Right now, this room is like a castle surrounded by enemy troops, with its walls about to crumble. If staying put means certain death, then you must also have the option of riding out for one last stand in an honorable defeat. After all, surrender doesn't seem to be an option in this fight. I'll protect Father's secret until the very end. If it's discovered, we'll have no chance to talk our way out of it. My husband's embezzlement will be exposed to the light of day, and the Ushirimiya family's honor will be destroyed. We must remain firm and prevent that no matter what may happen. Calm down. I understand. Krause's alchemy will soon yield great results. If we can just make it through this year, we'll manage. So don't get flustered. But we used this strategy precisely because we wouldn't be able to pull off the same trick as last year, right? Isn't it the height of stupidity to return to a plan you previously abandoned because it was impossible? Just what sort of plan could we hope to make at this point? Renova and I will prepare one. Leave it to us. For creating illusions is what witches do. All you have to do is give us your permission, Natsuhi. Teacher and Renova are quite reliable at times such as these. And the servants of the One-Winged Eagle are top-notch furniture. Once Teacher and Renova rebuild the magic we need, I imagine the servants will work hard to protect it. It still isn't too late. Let's take Kinzo out of the study and make that illusion walk around. Did you forget we chose our current strategy because we considered plans like that? And couldn't think of anything that would work? It would be the height of foolishness to get flustered in an emergency and carelessly throw away our primary plan. But Natsuhi, as you stand there amidst the toxin, you must realize better than anyone else that we will no longer be able to outlast this siege. I propose that we try and think of another plan without changing our objective of holding the fort. In any event, as long as we can keep this room sealed, no one will be able to deny Father's existence. After all, one cannot determine the contents of a cat box that no number of people could ever hope to open. Well, that may be true, but humans are capable of defying reason. It's possible for them to eat into an airtight cat box and go inside, like black ants closing in on a box of cake. Lady Bernkastel's piece also worries me. It was fortunate that Erika stole the show at tonight's dinner. By doing that, she created an atmosphere in which it was possible to close down the family conference for the night. If you all had returned directly to the family conference as usual, the barrier might have broken. However, it also made the toxin grow even thicker. After it thickens all night, it might manage to penetrate the closed room barrier with ease. Whether we continue to hold down the fort or not, we will not make it through tomorrow unless we prepare a new strategy and a new barrier. Lady Bernkastel may have some plan for breaking the closed room barrier. We can't take that piece called Erika lightly. Come to think of it, that man who mentioned taking revenge for the events of 19 years ago might also be a piece of Lady Bernkastel's. This board achieved equilibrium with 18 pieces, but now it has had 2 undesirable pieces added to it. There are too many irregularities this year. Lady Bernkastel is a fan of Eastern things, and shogi, or Japanese chess. Aren't you allowed to drop pieces in during a game? Yes, that's possible. Even the act of dropping a queen from a captured pile right in front of the enemy king is an allowable trump card in shogi. Sure, you can do that. I wonder what that man who claimed to have connected from 19 years ago is doing now. Is he already hiding somewhere on the island? That girl called Erika was able to appear by claiming to have drifted here. That man might also have landed somewhere on the island, despite the typhoon. And he may be hiding somewhere now. And it's going to be hard to fully deceive the relatives. Why? Why have so many irregular things happened at the same time? How can you explain this nightmarish miracle of coincidence? Natsu slammed the desk hard, held her head, and cringed at the pain from her overwhelming headache. Lady Bernkastel controls miracles. There's no point being surprised that irregularities are miracles when she's around. Well, shogi is a game in which an enemy piece might suddenly appear in front of a king. For that very reason, you build up a perfect formation that doesn't allow for such a weakness, artistically constructing a castle around your king. In that case, isn't holding the fort exactly what we should be doing now? Perhaps, if we had a fort we could hold. But we cannot hope for such a thing now. It's difficult to corner a king with no wall to his back, and even more difficult to corner one with open spaces in all directions. Think of a mouse. You can catch a mouse that's shut in a cage. However, catching a mouse in a field is like trying to catch a cloud. Natsuhi, please allow us to consider this option. Kinzo will leave his study and wander around the mansion on a whim, avoiding the gazes of the relatives. We will think of a natural-seeming plan for this by morning. Don't you see the danger? If we're willing to consider such dangerous options, wouldn't it be better to continue acting as though Father is just in his room, in a bad mood? Tomorrow, the relatives will crowd around the study once again. They'll be right on the other side of that single door. When that happens, just how long do you intend to make it seem like they are having a yelling match with Kinzo? It's impossible. And we must find some way to postpone this impossibility for 36 hours? If you tell me to do it, I will. I am Ushimiya Natsuhi, the wife of the Ushimiya family head. If you tell me to do that, I will act out a shouting match with Father for as many days as it takes. Even Natsuhi realized that she could never manage it, but she no longer saw any chance of victory from a plan that involved an illusion of Kinzo walking around. Banging on the desk several times with tears of rage streaming down her face, Natsuhi alternated between groaning from her headache and placing the blame on one thing or another. It made one feel as there must be some curse that made anyone who sat in that chair act that way. This is like a game of mating shogi, where you are on the defensive. In mating shogi, the opponent has no king, and you have no way of winning other than avoiding a checkmate for a predetermined number of moves. And to think that I must escape for a whole day and a half's worth of moves. It's just too many. Don't stop thinking. Don't give up. I'll listen to your complaints, so don't have a fit. Your unshaking will to overcome this trial will bring you success with certainty. That's the power of the Witch of Certainty for you. You must not lose that magical power. Believe that you will overcome this no matter what. I'm sure you'll think of a brilliant plan. Wait, did she just call Natsuhi the Witch of Certainty? Your unshaking will to overcome this trial will bring you success with certainty. That's the power of the Witch of Certainty for you. Is she likening Natsuhi to Lambda Delta? You must not lose that magical power. Believe that you will overcome this no matter what. I'm sure you'll think of a brilliant plan. Therefore, you mustn't give up, and you mustn't stop thinking. You're right. I understand. Only I can overcome this hardship. That's correct. Didn't Kinzo entrust you with the job of overcoming these challenges? Kinzo acknowledged that you were worthy of that responsibility. Father. Father. Teacher and Renove will think of a move. Of course, I will think of one as well. However, even if we cannot do without permission from our master, even that we cannot do without permission from our master, from you. So at the very least, don't abandon your will to fight. Don't give up. I understand. But I'm already all tired out, and I can't stand this headache. Why is it that I'm crying here, all alone in the frigid study? Why is my husband here? Why isn't my husband not here for me now? Back when dinner ended, Kraus claimed to be dizzy and went to bed early. Of course, he had done this to get enough rest to ready himself for the long day ahead. But to Natsuhi right now, it felt as though he had just gone straight to sleep and pushed the entire burden onto her. However, complaining about such a thing would mean her failure as a wife. Isn't it a good wife's duty to work hard and put family first, even when her husband is resting? Filled with regret, even at her anger towards her husband, unable to determine at whom she should be angry, Natsuhi continued to sob. If only Kinzo could just speak to her kindly at times like this. Beto searched for him, but Kinzo had been nowhere to be seen in the study for some time now. Perhaps Natsuhi had noticed this as well, though she bragged that fighting alone and supporting from behind was the responsibility of a good wife. Without anyone to tell her that this really was necessary, she was now so frail that she couldn't even stop her own tears. Just as Beato was trying to think of words to console her, Virgilia tapped her slightly on the shoulder. Sometimes, when words of consolation don't come from the mouth of the right person, they do more harm than good. So Virgilia silently told Beto that remaining silent was the best course of action for now. Hi. Sorry to interrupt. I know I'm an outsider, but I wonder if you'd let me speak. Yeah. Please, restrain yourself for the time being. No. In this room, there's no distinction between outsiders, guests, and the rest of us. You may speak. Thank you. Renove said it himself a while ago. This is mating shogi with you on the defensive. How do you lose in mating shogi? It's when your king is checkmated, right? That goes without saying. And the opponent has no king. Therefore, all Natsuhi can do is have her king run away constantly. I see. So you're thinking of that move. Has that time already come? What do you mean? Do you mean there's some sort of move remaining? It's what you proposed in the very beginning, about how to hide Goldsmith's death. I'm trying to say the time's come for us to use that. You mean, have him go missing? You mean to make that move right now, during the family conference? That's too dangerous. Once they'd successfully resolved all of their problems, they would have to lay Kinzo to rest. And the best way to do that was to make him disappear. One day, Kinzo would go out into the forest and never return. They wouldn't be able to find him no matter how much they searched, so he would be declared missing. You said it yourself a second ago, Riche. You can't catch a mouse that's escaped into a field. And you can't catch a goldsmith who's disappeared into the forest. You plan for us to talk our way out of this like that? To use such a move now, when the suspicion against us is greatest? That would be no better than committing suicide. Oh, they will probably suspect it. Such a move would most certainly lead to mistrust. However, even if they were to set foot in this study, they would find nothing to aid them. It would never again be possible for them to keep Kinzo pinned down, and no matter how much they suspected his death, they would be unable to prove it. Forget about a mere 36 hours. You'd be able to protect Kinzo's secret forever that way, right? Of course, we'll also have to bear an appropriate risk. If you make that move, you may be able to overcome this particular challenge, but we cannot even guess at how much prestige you might lose for it. Even so, it's a move that will most certainly overcome our current challenge. Of course, you'll then have to face an even greater suspicion, but you won't die. Yeah, that may be true, but during the Great Kanto earthquake, the Ushirimiya family should have died. However, the mad genius goldsmith revived it so splendidly. So splendidly, that it's now something you desire to protect. But this time, it's up to you and your husband, the new head, and his wife, to do the same. Oh, is that how you intend to stir her up? I'm not stirring her up. I'm just asking if she's prepared to be the wife of the head. Are you prepared to protect the Ushirimiya family, even if you end up getting dragged through the dirt to do it? I am. Then now is the time. If you can survive by being dragged through the dirt, then crawl with all your might. You'll inch your way through the world of suffering, and eventually you'll restore that glory. I, Gap, the 33rd in rank, promise you this. Hey, Doobie. Gap. The fact that I came to play at a time like this must be a sign from the gods of happenstance. I'll keep this promise, Ushirimiya Natsuhi. I require nothing in return. Riche, the one who serves you, has already paid me plenty in advance. How am I? I'm doing good. I'm excited to see the solution of this riddle. Gap may have seemed irresponsible, but she's actually possessed a strong sense of duty. She was the kind of person who just couldn't leave someone in trouble alone. In advance? Oh, when did I do that? I have no memory of such a thing. Oh, I just mean those magical items you couldn't remember where you put. I made off with quite a few of them. Huh? So that was your doing. Give them back. Give back my illusionary silver crystal and moonstick. I still haven't played around by sticking them together yet. That's the sort of magic and strategy you can expect from me. I can hide Goldsmith away in a world where no one will be able to find him. Let me know the instant you need that magic. Till then, feel free to think of another, safer plan. True. Having alternatives is beneficial for your peace of mind. And without that, you'll never think up a brilliant plan. Natsuhi. We have quite some time remaining us tonight. Let's leave Gap's strategy as a final trump card and iron out a plan of our own for now. Please, give us permission. And please, give us the trust, magical power, and absolute conviction we'll need to succeed without fail. If you have faith, I will make your dreams come true. If you succumb to doubt, then I will make those nightmares come true. You must build your own future. Kinzo would disappear, and right in the middle of this family conference. Such a move truly would be a last resort. Burying his final trump card in her heart, Natsuhi decided that she would grope around for a different plan until the last second. After all, this long, long night has only just begun. Baron Castell and her peace had longed to prepare as Natsuhi did. Gap really became quite the charming despite the whole Portal with George and Jessica bit. Yeah, agreed. Gouge the foot and kill. And that completes it. I see. So that really was what gouge meant. Once again, my reasoning was correct. The feeling of this time was clearly different than the previous times, as though some sort of device had activated. Gouge. Oh, is it like a statue of a person? And you hit the 5 parts of the statue? Because we know that the gold was like in the rose garden, right? More or less. Maybe not right there. But it sounds like you did something to a statue. Or a body or a person. Like a statue of a person. However, as a quick glance could tell, there was no dramatic change, just an entrance of some sort opening. Apparently, they would need to do just a little more before they could find it. You're incredible. If we really do find the gold, we'll have to split it together. You definitely do something to something? Ugh. Enjoying the intellectual stimulation is enough for me. The only thing I like is solving riddles. The only reward I need is proof that I was right. She shrugged it off, implying that just seeing the gold would be enough. Then she crouched down, peering fixedly at the lock mechanism. It's definitely no mistake to say this girl really loves solving riddles. For her, treasure hunting is all about the delicious process of exposing secrets. So she has no interest whatsoever in getting the treasure for herself and becoming a billionaire. I see. Pretty cocky of you setting up a device like this. The mistake you all made was letting me on the island in the first place. Simply by the existence of the epitaph in that place, this level of reasoning is possible for Furudo Erika. What do you think, everyone? As she said this to the now exposed contraption, she grinned. Her smile was triumphant, but it was more fully characterized by the small bit of unpleasant disdain contained within. After solving the riddle, she was probably reveling in the pleasure of having won against the one who had proposed it, and she enjoyed her ability to scoff at this person now. If we find the gold now, the successor won't be Kraus, but you. Well, I wonder. Isn't Kraus kind of arrogant? You might even call him a braggart. I think we need a red truth declaring Erika incompetent. Incompetent? It'll be pretty amusing to see him lose both the gold and his position as a successor to his nephew in the course of a single night, won't it? Oh, like we did for Battler? Sure. Erika was still crouched down as she spoke, her back to Battler as she toyed around with the device. Jessica was her name, right? The girl who talked back to me? Yeah. She really was acting big about her father being the successor. When she wakes up tomorrow and learns you've inherited all the gold, and that her father's no longer the successor, I wonder what kind of expression she'll have on her face. I've got no intention of keeping that 20 billion to myself. Well, if I've got even 10%, that'd be as much as I could handle. We could split the rest fairly amongst family. I'm even less interested in being the successor. I'd be glad to let Uncle Kraus deal with that. Will you really be able to settle things that easily in the end? Well, rather than trying to make guesses about that, I imagine it'll be more fun to guess the expression Jessica wears tomorrow. What kind of sad excuses she'll try to make. You really do have a nasty personality. Oh? Couldn't you reason that out from the time you learned that I liked solving riddles? I'm an intellectual... Whoa. Shh, I'm not gonna read that. The same thing goes for solving the epitaph's riddle. I'll bet you wanted to expose the gold grandfather worked so hard to hide. Yes, that's my goal at first. But it changed partway through. Partway through? Changed to what? I mean Jessica. She butted in on my reasoning, contaminated that pure and noble time. Ever since then, I've been trying to solve the epitaph so I could teach Jessica a lesson. Are you serious? She's kind of incorrigible, huh? I'll make all opponents surrender, no matter who they are. That is my sole pleasure. Yeah, I don't like that at all. That's my sole pleasure. Do you still need me to reason it out for you? Ushumiya Jessica irritated me. That's why I wanted to put her in her place and decided to solve the epitaph. That's what led to the emotions I hold now. Can you reason out what those emotions are? Spite? Revenge? This time I turned my back on her in earnest. Did I get a bit too excited by this riddle-solving game letting her drive me on? And do something terrible? That's right. It should have been possible to reason this out. If the riddle is solved, the relatives will probably freak out about who the successor should be. Dad and some others will probably push for me, the discoverer, to be the successor. And some relatives not thrilled with that prospect will probably oppose them. Despite how adamantly Erika affirmed it, it isn't written anywhere that the one who solves the riddle does become the successor. Because of this, it'll lead to a fight between those who acknowledge that theory and those who don't. If I reason out what'll happen next, as Erika did, it'll probably lead to a messy fight between Kraus and the rest of the relatives. Now that I've solved the riddle, will Jessica admire me or curse me? I don't want to think about that now. Erika was still mumbling. Apparently she had already started trying to reason it out. As I began to feel very bad, I gazed into the black night. At that time, I looked at the dim outdoor light. I saw the silhouette of a person in front of it. I thought I must be seeing things. After all, it was unthinkable that someone could have been standing there this whole time, pounded upon by the rain without even an umbrella. However, the silhouette didn't move an inch, and maybe... No, it couldn't be. It was looking at me, and it was... Enzo. Huh? At that moment, I understood. Grandfather's probably been watching us solve the riddle the whole time. And he watched as we spectacularly solved the whole thing. Without a doubt, there was a faint smile on Grandfather's face. Grandfather, who had never worn anything except moody and frightening expressions, looked at me in the eye and smiled at me for the first time. Almost as though he was saying, "How impudent." Or else, "I never thought it would be you." However, this is still the result that Grandfather's epitaph chose, so I'm sure he accepted that result. In the end, he grinned one more time. Of course, he didn't use words. His smile seemed to be wordlessly saying, "Well done." I didn't know how I should respond. I couldn't do anything but stand there in shock, ignoring Erica as she crouched down, mumbling with her back towards me. Then, Grandfather stretched a hand out from the folds of his cloak and pointed at something. When I looked in that direction, there was... The thing he was pointing at was probably the signpost to the Golden Land. Go. I'm sure Grandfather said that one word. I nodded and showed that I understood. After watching that, Grandfather nodded back satisfied. Then, with a spin of his cloak, he disappeared, seeming to melt into the darkness. The expression on his face at the end was a smile that was, for the first time, truly satisfied. Are you listening, Battler? Did you hear my reasoning? Huh? I found it. That's the signpost to the Golden Land. Huh? Oh, it's facing a different direction than it used to. I see. So it means go that way. You've got some pretty good powers of observation. Grandfather told me about it. Kinzo? Where is he? I'm going. Let's have a look at what you're showing us. Just what is this Golden Land? We started to walk. The entrance to the Golden Land was right there. Are they not going to tell us the solution? Madge. So my epitaph has finally been solved, and it was Battler who did it. Wonderful. Couldn't be better. When I think about it, it was also a head that no one saw coming. I was also a head that no one saw coming. How amusing that the one to succeed me is just as surprising. I have no more regrets. Beatrice, I'm coming to join you, along with a present, the miracle chosen by my epitaph. Battler of all people. That Battler. That Battler. At the very, very end of my life, I have seen a true miracle. Beatrice, I've won this bet. Then they're down in the same dungeon. There's the gold. Huh. Except for its non-corrosive properties, there's no practical way to turn gold into money. I imagine it'd take a lot of work to exchange all this for cash. At the end of a crude underground tunnel in a VIP room so beautiful it seemed improper, was a pile of gold so large that there could be no doubting its 20 billion yen's worth. Erica was calm, but Battler couldn't suppress his excitement. As for which of the two was the correct reaction to show after seeing a mountain of gold, only those who saw the scene with their own eyes could say for sure. In this day and age, it's said that an average salaryman earns about 200 million yen in wages over his life. And this is 20 billion yen worth of gold. With even 1/100th of this gold mountain, a single human could live their entire life without working. What is labor? Isn't it the very point of a human's life, since a person who doesn't work cannot eat? If so, then 200 million yen is enough to make a single person's life complete. And this is 20 billion yen. That would account for the labors of 100 humans. No, a single human life 100 times over. Of course, if you still wanted to work, you could. Any money you gained as a result could be used to play with. After all, you would already have enough money to live for your entire life. No. For eternity. No, wait. I mustn't keep it all to myself. I can split it up among 100 people. If I could create a world where a full 100 humans wouldn't have to work for their whole lives, just what kind of world would that be? Yeah, there's no doubt at all. This is the Golden Land. There you go. Baron Battler magnificently discovered the gold. Congrats. I had her hide the more central parts of it. But what's wrong with just being a little mean, right? I hate you. Sure, do that as much as you like. I'm not interested in the Michael details about what kind of riddle it was or what kind of answer it had. The important thing is that as a result, 10 tons of gold were discovered. The gold was discovered in the third game as well by Aunt Ava. Aunt Rosa also witnessed it. However, the two of them hadn't spoken of the gold's discovery to anyone. In other words, there was a chance that the gold's discovery was a catbox truth kept between the two of them. More specifically, it was probably the gold didn't exist and was just an illusion. However, I have finally found it. The catbox has been opened. It'd be a waste of time to do that repeated game, so I'll give you a little bonus. The mountain of gold is real. All of the ingots piled up here are real, pure gold. There are absolutely no tricks such as replicas or fakes. Okay, sure. Got it. I'll accept that the gold exists. However, there are still some things I cannot accept. Of course. You met with him, didn't you? With Kinzo. Even though Kinzo is supposedly an illusion, you met with him just a second ago, right? I guess that really was magic, wasn't it? Ridiculous. I didn't exchange any words with Grandfather. I only felt as though Grandfather and I had exchanged words. Give it a rest. That same move won't work again. In that case, your blue truth, please? I was probably in an excited state after solving the epitaph's riddle. Then I mistook something for Grandfather. For example, maybe there was some kind of sheet or cover that had gotten caught in a dark grove of trees, which looked like Grandfather wearing a pitch-black cloak. As a result, I mistakenly thought that I had some sort of conversation with Grandfather. Blue truth valid. Well, I did say the exact same thing in blue. So, did it work? Where's your counter with the red truth? I have none. At least, not now, okay? The me who had let out a strange yell in front of the gold mountain was finally starting to regain his cool. Now that we found it, there's no covering it up. I vaguely considered keeping this discovery a secret. However, Erica wanted to prove that her own reasoning was correct by announcing this to everyone. She really is an my god, dude. She really is an intellectual R-word, just as she says. The puzzle-solving game is what's important to her, and she doesn't intend to take any responsibility for what happens after the riddle is solved. A riddle is sort of like a lock. Locks exist to be locked, and they're only significant when they're locked. Therefore, it ought to be essential to have some goal in mind when exposing such a thing. Rosa actually has a special attack in the fighting game where she spins a tree-sized bar of gold and throws it. That's so sick. However, to this girl, the act of exposing it itself for her final goal, and she has no intention of taking responsibility for anything that happens later. Maybe the true storm to hit Rokonjima isn't the typhoon, but her. She won't keep the discovery secret. She'll definitely announce it so she can brag about her success. Then she'll call a real storm down upon this island. I won't be able to keep this covered up. In that case, there's nothing to do but announce the fact fairly to all. I can't imagine what'll happen after that. As she grinned, Erica muttered to herself. She must have been anticipating the uproar that the relatives would soon bring about. To her, merely imagining this was far sweeter than 20 billion yen in gold. Simply by the existence of the epitaph in that place, this level of reasoning is possible for Furuto Erica. What do you think, everyone? Not loving Erica. This is gonna get heated. Chapter break. I am gonna take a 3-minute break, run some ads, use the bathroom, and refill my water. So I'll be right back. Erica's very divisive. Yeah, seems like it. Erica will tick off Maria very fast, considering... Oh, yeah. Possibly true. Alright, give me 1 second, settle in, and then we get started. I wish I had solved that riddle, man. I'm so close. We'll probably do this chapter and then call it. And then do like a long session Saturday. So we'll do this chapter and then call it. For tonight, always appreciate the pace that y'all let me keep. Knock, knock, knock. The sudden sound of someone banging fiercely on the door brought Natsuki to her senses. She had probably nodded off in the study while planning how they would overcome the next day. But what could it be at a time like this? More importantly, the knock itself was strange. If someone wanted to contact her, they would have just used the internal phone line. She told them she'd be here. Realizing that something strange was going on, Natsuki shook her head one more time, completely throwing off her drowsiness. Father, it's Ava. I have urgent vital matter to discuss with you. Oh, it was Ava's voice. What is this? I thought I told them to lock the doors and windows of the mansion tightly after everyone left for the guest house. So why is Ava here? Natsuki ran up to the door, responded with a small knock, and spoke through the door in a quiet voice. What is it? You're too noisy. Natsuki, why are you in Father's study at this hour? I told you to be quiet. Have you forgotten that the head values peace and silence more than anything else? Now's not the time to be saying that. Stop harping on that and open up quickly. Bring Father out. Oh yeah, this is where Ava walked into the study, right? The head just went to sleep. I don't know what business you have, but I'll deal with it tomorrow. I don't have any business with you. Just open up right now. Sometimes multiple schemes and assumptions can fall apart due to the most direct, simple, and emotional of strategies. This is bad. If I open the door, Ava will probably throw herself forward and rush into the study. Now I can't even open this door. At that moment, the phone suddenly rang. It's okay. Both of the keys to the study are here. No one can open this door. Natsuki inched away from the door and grabbed the receiver. Hello? It's Natsuki. It's me. Things are bad. I want you to come down to the parlor quickly. It was from Kraus. His tone was strained. What in the world happened? It would seem the battler and this guest called Erica solved the witch's epitaph and found the gold. Huh? Is that true? Rudolph and the rest have forced their way in. They're saying Battler will show everyone the way to the hidden gold. Right now, Ava is just outside the study door yelling at me to open it. But if I do that now, she might push her way inside. I understand. I will go there too. Don't worry about Ava. Just stay there and don't do anything. I'll give you a signal once I've gotten Ava away from the door. So leave as soon as you hear that. Ready? Oh, this is not going to work out. Right after that, Kraus came up the staircase accompanied by Genji. A heated debate started between him and Ava. Open up. No, calm down. In the middle of that, there was a small knock as a signal. Kraus had cleverly pushed Ava away from the door and distracted her. During that gap, Natsuki slipped out of the study and quickly shut the door. Ava noticed this and her face twisted in disappointment. The heavy sound of the auto lock had already rung out and the door had been sealed. The gold of the epitaph has been found. It's only natural that we should inform Father about this. Or else what? Is there some reason you can't tell Father about this? Father gave strict orders that he not be awakened, no matter what, after he went to bed. Following these orders is the duty of the head's representative. Isn't that right, Genji? Yes. The master's sleep must not be disturbed, no matter what happens. Even a rule like that depends on time and circumstance, doesn't it? I mean, the epitaph was solved. Father has a right to know straight away. Of course, the two of us will report on everything to the head tomorrow. That's our duty as the head's representatives. I don't care about that. Come on, just open the door. Let me see Father. Father, can you hear me? It's Ava. Please, open up. Ow, let go of me. That hurts. We're telling you to listen to us. Don't knock on the door so loudly. Ow. Let go. Kraus, Ava. The master is sleeping. Please refrain from disturbing him any further. When Genji spoke firmly, the two finally ceased their scuffle. It seemed that Genji, the one who had spoken for Kinzo since they were very young, still possessed an air of dignity strong enough to handle both Kraus and Ava. Ava put her argument aside for the time being. She could hold off worrying about that until after she saw the gold with her own eyes. After all, not even Ava had seen it for herself yet. Natsuhi and the others had managed to somehow deal with the momentary crisis. However, the move of the demons that would sneer upon their efforts had already begun. Battler solved the riddle? Yes. Though he had a lot of help from that Erika girl, Battler was the one who reached the answer. Erika had proclaimed that she will abandon her rights to the Golden Land. Therefore, the one who reached the Golden Land is Battler. Fate can be truly amazing. To think that Battler would make it there. What will you do, Beto? You promised to stop the ceremony if anyone solved the epitaph's riddle. Yes, that was the deal. That was the deal. Indeed. Apparently, Battler does not intend to become the master of the Golden Land. It now seems that no one will become our master. That is also fate. It has been several decades since we first manifested in the human world through our bond with Lord Goldsmith. The time since then has been so very fun. Come on, Leah. You sound like an old lady. So, what are we gonna do? If we go by Riche and Goldsmith's rules, now that Battler solved the epitaph and decided not to become our master, we've been relieved from duty, right? That's true. I have no regrets at all. I've been prepared to be kicked into cactus all the time. Cactus. Wait, we can't let that happen. You might not have any regrets, but I will keep on serving Natsuhi. It would be quite irresponsible to let ourselves be relieved from duty just because Battler solved the epitaph. I guess Erika was denied to be master. No, Erika said she didn't want it. Erika, what's the word? Relieved or rescinded, or she forewent it. Witches are forbidden from breaking contracts, but this also must not fail to show gratitude. True. We should serve her until the family conference ends. In that case, you won't be relieved from duty for a while either, Lord Goldsmith. Perhaps you should wait until you've overcome this family conference safely, said goodbye to Natsuhi at the very least, and if possible, rewarded her for all her efforts. Indeed. She has done well supporting my foolish son. You're a fallen angel with one of its wings plucked off, aren't you? Just leave the other wing as a parting gift and go. Indeed. Perhaps that would be fitting. Natsuhi may be worthy of bearing my wing. Oh wow, that's nice. However, we are approaching the critical moment. Your reward is waiting for you. Try to make it through this test unscathed, Natsuhi. The Mountain of Gold left everyone speechless. Regardless of how strongly they had believed its existence, no one could look at this much real gold and not be shocked. To think that a place like this existed. Can't believe it. That dad. Everyone was stunned by the gold. The first one to break the silence and jump around in ecstasy was Hideyoshi. Letting out an excited laugh, he clung to the wall of gold. Then he felt the cold, hard touch of it over his cheek. This is incredible. It's the real thing. That damn dad of ours. Sticking this much gold in such a ridiculous place. Now that we have this much, we no longer have anything to fear. With this, we could overcome any kind of trial. Rosa, Ne-san, we'll be able to find happiness with this, right? Ava and Rosa moved towards each other at the same time and hugged as they broke down crying. Ecstasy and shock, wonder and sighs. After stepping forward in front of the pile of gold that had caused these mixed emotions, Erika spoke as though she were an announcer in some show. If this world is money, then gold is the embodiment of happiness. Congratulations, everyone. I pray that this discovery makes all of your lives richer. I'll take my hat off to you. To think you'd solve the epitaph within a single day of coming to this island. If you couldn't solve it in a single day, then you wouldn't be able to solve it no matter how many days you had. After all, it doesn't take more than an instant for your little gray cells to give you a flash of intuition. Also, I wouldn't have been able to solve this myself. I ask that you praise Battler's achievement as well, everyone. I abandon any rights to this discovery. I am already satisfied to have my reasoning proved correct. So, I'd like to give Battler-san full credit. I may be here, but please continue your discussion as though I wasn't. Battler called all of the adults here, making sure that none of the cousins would notice. That can only mean one thing. He must have wanted to begin the true family conference with all of you. Erika, quit deciding things on your own. My apologies. In that case, I'll step down as the facilitator of these proceedings. So, who will take my place? Shrugging, Erika looked around at everyone. After a short period of silence, Ava made the first move. None of us have forgotten the deal we made earlier today, right? Yeah. Divide it between the four of us, with 2.5 billion for each. And then, the successor gets another 10 billion. Wait a second. Who decided that the one who discovers the gold becomes the successor? Hold up. You won't be able to get away with that, Natsuhi. We've all been arguing based on that premise this whole time, haven't we? You really think you could pretend that never happened? Her ass does not want them to be happier. It's so true. That's right. Weren't you the one worrying about how, if one of the servants solved the riddle, they might consider themselves the successor? But nowhere is it explicitly written that that's the truth, right? You bastard. We were all aware of that, weren't we? That's right, Aniki. Are you not going to change your position this late in the game? Though it was never stipulated, I believe it was common knowledge between us. Sabardik, welcome. I don't see how you can suggest we ignore it completely. You can't just interpret the head's epitaph however you like. Do you have the PlayStation version of Uni? I have both. I usually play on PC, but I have both, yeah. Where is it written that the one who finds the gold becomes the successor? The epitaph was decided upon by the head. You have no right to decide these things for yourselves. Calm down, Natsuhi. How could I calm down? Rudolph and Kiri get 5, while Battler gets the 15. Not quite. The 4 is Rudolph, Kraus, Rosa, and Ava. They each get 2.5. And then Battler would get 10. So they would get 12.5. How could I calm down? Yes, I do find it quite impressive that Battler solved the epitaph. I certainly believe he should be rewarded for it. However, it's clearly a stretch to suggest that he deserves half of everything. And you won't get away with the argument that the discoverer becomes the successor. That's low, Natsuhi. This is completely different from what you were saying earlier today. I agree. Though it was never stipulated, the fact that whoever solves the epitaph becomes the successor has always been the greatest unwritten rule we've had. It's not fair if you start complaining about that at the last second, right? Yeah, it isn't fair. Anyway, this gold is Father's. We can't decide how it will be split up without his permission. Oh, she's like quadrupling down. No way. That's low, Natsuhi. We were talking about this one on and on earlier, right? Are you saying that whole conversation was a bunch of bull? It just ain't right. Why don't we just vote on it? Battler, the one who found the gold, is the successor. My husband and I have no objections. What about you, Rudolph and Kiri? Rosa? No objections here. Nice job, Battler. I have no objections either. Battler is the true successor, chosen by the epitaph. If you aren't satisfied, then why don't we just ask Father directly? That's right. Like you just said, Natsuhi, Father is the one who wrote the riddle of the epitaph, and he's also the proper owner of this gold. In that case, shouldn't we talk to Father about this directly? How should Battler, the person who discovered the gold, be treated? I believe Father is the only one capable of making such a decision. But didn't I tell you to calm down? Rosa and Kiri are right. Let's ask Father. Your turn is already over, Nissan, Natsuhi. Yeah. Bring Father out to us. We won't get anywhere with just you two. Let's begin the real family conference. Does this look like something you could put off just because he's tired? If we take this thing lightly, we'll have a massive problem on our hands. Hey, are you listening? We won't get anywhere with just you. Bring Father out right now. Are family conferences always like this? How the hell do I know? They're probably always like this on the inside. Looks like they won't be able to get this figured out right now without Kinzo. To think he's being called out to settle his children's fights, even though it's been announced that he only has a short while to live. I wonder how he feels about that right now. I imagine that, no, reasoning that out would be a treat. The parents ignored Battler and Erika and kept yelling at each other on and on. Even though Battler had more or less imagined that this sort of thing happened behind the scenes, this was the first time he'd seen it. He suspected it since 6 years ago, and he'd been able to get a pretty good idea of what this was like by the darkening expression on his parents' faces when this time of year drew near. However, this argument his relatives were having before his very eyes was much more ugly than he'd imagined. This is why he was very glad that he'd called the adults out here without letting the cousins catch wind of anything. Perhaps because everyone was tired out from this seemingly endless argument, they took a short break. It was decided that this family conference inside the Golden Land should be moved over to the mansion. This place may have been gorgeous, like a VIP room, but there was no heating and it was a little cold. It wasn't well suited for long conversation. They thought of the possibility that someone might snatch the gold away while their backs were turned. But of course, no one could manage much with just human hands and a small amount of time when it's the 10 tons of gold they're dealing with. In fact, it might be said that having this mountain of gold in the background was actually robbing them the ability to make sound decisions. So they agreed to return to the mansion, in part so that they could regain their composure and continue the conference more cold-bloodedly. Then, if you would excuse me for the night, I imagine I'll just get in the way if I remain any longer. Sure, sorry. Did we bother you too much? Let's show our gratitude again tomorrow. Sorry for letting you see such an embarrassing side of us. You said that you refused, but allow us to prepare a filling portion out of gratitude for you as one of the first to discover the gold. Right, Nissan? Yeah. We know what you're capable of. I think you can grasp our current circumstances. 20 billion yen in gold isn't something they wanted out in the open. They didn't want an outsider like Erika telling people about it. Of course, Erika had already reasoned out that much. She wore an unpleasant smile on her face as though she understood all too well. You don't need to worry about me. Of course, I have no desire to tell anyone else about this. And if I did, no one would believe me without proof. I got to see something interesting tonight. It was quite a spectacle, so I'm more than satisfied. Okay. Well, I guess it's not every day you see 10 tons of gold. Seeing the gold was the spectacle? Of course not. Judging by Erika's dark nature, it's obvious what she was so happy about. I thought about telling her to just go away, but even I wanted to get out of this place. I tried to head back to the guest house along with Erika. However, Kiri grabbed my shoulder. You can't go, Battler. Please, come with us. Yes. You're now a real successor. You've got to have an audience with Father and have him acknowledge you right away. That's something only the family head may decide. Don't make things up on your own. Battler, I realize it'll be a pain, but stick around with us for a bit longer. Don't say anything. Just stay quiet and keep your head down. Got it? Just do whatever you want. It would have been easy to say that I had no interest in being the successor, but I was sure that it would only add more oil to the fire. Even if I hadn't been ordered to keep quiet, saying shut up like that, Clam was clearly a good idea. In that case, would it really be so bad if they just let me go back to the guest house? Dad put his arms firmly around my shoulder, and I told him I was uncomfortable and to let go. However, he didn't pay attention to a word I said. Ah, gross. The old vicarious living through your kid. I've solved the epitaph, just like you wanted. When you were the game master, we'd always get those letters. Try and solve the epitaph. If you don't, I'll kill you all. Poor Beto, man. Why didn't she want to make us solve the riddle of the epitaph? By solving it, we found a mountain of gold. Yippee for us. What about Beto? Does she gain anything by having us find the gold? Or does she lose something? As far as chessboard thinking tells us, people don't ever make moves that cause them to lose something. That means you must have something to gain by having us solve the epitaph. No. This child has nothing to gain from having someone solve the epitaph. Whoa, in red even. Are you sure that's okay? Using red like that without her permission? This child most likely wishes for it. Virgilia, who had suddenly appeared there, quickly gave an answer to my question with the red truth. In the past, I sometimes guessed that Beato tried to make us solve the epitaph, because she wanted to make us find the gold's hiding place for her, so she could snatch it away. Is that wrong too? Yes. In the first place, the gold of the Golden Land belongs to this child. She has absolutely no need to make someone find it or snatch it away herself. Of course. Beato is Beatrice the Golden. Isn't she the master of the Golden Land and the Yoshimiya family alchemist? That totally makes sense. However, that makes me even more confused. Even if someone exposed the answer to the epitaph's riddle, Beato has nothing to gain. No, to the contrary, her own gold might be stolen away. In that case, I'm understanding this less and less. I understand the epitaph murders. It might be revenge against the Ushimiya family, or else a ceremony to revive her powers as a witch. After all, she's probably doing it because of some reason or goal of her own. But what's the point of her telling us to solve the epitaph? Whether we solve it or not, she has nothing to gain at all. In other words, the whole issue of whether the epitaph is solved or not is immaterial in Beato's eyes. You're right. Whether the epitaph's riddle is solved or not, this child stands nothing to gain at all. Doesn't matter whether it's solved or not. In other words, could we say that the epitaph's riddle is immaterial to Beato? You're right. The epitaph's riddle doesn't have any meaning for this child. So even if you take it to an extreme and call the epitaph riddle immaterial, it might not be possible to argue against your claim. Beato doesn't care about the riddle at all? Beato, why are you making me solve the epitaph's riddle? If we liken the witch you are to a pair of scales, the epitaph murders lie in one plate, and the riddle lies on the other. After all, she's saying she'll stop the epitaph murders if the epitaph is solved. In other words, the epitaph murders and the epitaph is starting to sound like not a real word. You know how that happens when you say a word too many times, it doesn't sound real anymore? In other words, the epitaph murders and the epitaph's riddle are worth the same to Beato, like two sides on a balanced scale. That means that both the epitaph's riddle and massacring all the relatives are equally significant from her point of view. But Virgilia responded with the red truth. Regardless of whether it's solved or not, Beato has nothing to gain. If she has nothing to gain, then the epitaph's riddle is meaningless and immaterial to her. In that case, how much are the epitaph murders, which lie on the other side of the scales, and are equal to the epitaph's riddle in value, worth to her? Think. Don't stop thinking. The epitaph murders and solving the riddle of the epitaph have equal worth. As long as the epitaph murders, which are Beato's goal each time, have this single way that they can be stopped, a way that she decided to herself. Hi, Kyo, how's it going? Both are worth the same thing to her. Thank you for lurking. X equals Y. And whether the epitaph's riddle is solved or not, Beato has nothing to gain. Y equals 0. So in this case, what is X? X is also 0. She doesn't care about murdering the family either. Wait a sec. That means the epitaph murders are also meaningless and immaterial. Every time she performs these bizarre serial murders, she's willing to spend an incredible amount of effort to politely send advance notice, and then kill us one by one in accordance with the epitaph, never getting exposed. So all of that is meaningless to her? I spun the chessboard around and searched through Beato's moves over and over. There's always the first place I stumble. This is always the first place I stumble. The significance of the epitaph murders. Why did she have to commit serial murders in a way that reproduced the witch's epitaph? She's dead inside. Maybe she needs the Capcom fighting game collection too, featuring Power Stone and Capcom vs SNK to cheer her up. Oh, perhaps. If she wanted to kill the whole Ushirimiya family for revenge, it'd be much simpler, safer, and more reliable if she just put poison in the dinner, or else went around killing people one by one in the middle of the night while they were sleeping. However, on the first evening, Beato sent us a letter that sounded like an advance notice, and then carried out 3-part serial murder with large gaps in between. The 6 people of the first twilight, the 2 people of the second twilight, and the 5 people of the fourth and later twilights. We aren't fools. Once the first murders occur, we barricade ourselves in somewhere to stave off any further murders. Furthermore, we quickly suspect a culprit among us and start analyzing each other's alibis. As the victims increase, the number of suspects decreases automatically. Beato's chances of success in this serial murder drop closer and closer to 0. All the epitaph murders are like she's strangling her own neck. making it harder to succeed in this serial murder she's attempting. All for a useless embellishment. All just for show. She's raising the difficulty of completing her own objective. That does follow. She really is a strange child. Did you know? In mystery novels, they call things like these epitaph murders plotline murders. I think you can split the possible motives for plotline murders like this into 3 groups. And what are those groups? Well, first off, maybe following the epitaph gives rise to the misconception about evidence and alibis, which might benefit the culprit. Pretending to be dead and mixing yourself in with the victims would fit this pattern, as would committing murders that don't actually follow the epitaph. Giving yourself an alibi by getting people to incorrectly guess the order of events. Ah, that's actually a neat point. If you keep pointing at the epitaph and saying, look, this is how these murders occurred, but you actually just killed everyone at once, or, you know, you killed people out of that order, people aren't looking that way because they're looking for a group of 2 people to die instead of one individual. So perhaps she only made it look as though she was killing them in ceremonial fashion, following the epitaph, when she was actually guiding their thinking in a manner that benefited her. I do find that intriguing. However, in our games, the dead are truly down for the count thanks to the red. While she might have confused people in the world of the game board, she can't confuse us up here like that. In other words, the most obvious possible goal for her isn't the real one. In that case, what are the other 2 possible reasons? Another one is coincidence. A crime just happens to resemble the epitaph, without anyone in particular trying to make it do so. And the witness mistakenly think it of a plotline murder. I think that's almost certainly 0. Humans try to find cause and effect in everything they see. If we think we know what something is, then that's how it looks to us. I see. That's intriguing too. But would that really work? In this child's games, advance notice of the crime is always given before the murders of the first Twilight. Also, I believe you've repeatedly found letters and circumstantial evidence that clearly show that the culprit is carrying out epitaph murders. Yeah, that's right. It isn't coincidence. From the very beginning, Beto's been advancing with the goal of making this look like a series of epitaph murders. We weren't mistaken about that. These are clear plotline murders, so this motive, or lack of motive, doesn't work either. In that case, there's only one motive left, right? The last one is because they want to show someone something. More specifically, fear. By following the epitaph, she gives the others clear notice in advance that the murders will continue. The survivors are in constant fear of the murders, which they're certain will continue. In other words, this child performed these epitaph murders to make someone feel the fear of death, or at least that'd explain things pretty well. The grotesque mutilation of corpses and the dark decorations were all a show to terrify us. To terrify whom? Isn't the obvious answer she does this to keep people from bothering to try to find the gold? No, because they just said she doesn't care about the gold. She doesn't care about the gold. So I don't think her motive has anything to do with the gold. And it was said in red as well. Terrify whom? Well, like I said, us. After hearing that one line Virgilia spoke so casually, my thoughts clouded over once again. Is it really sufficient to use the vague word, us? There are many humans in the Ushirumiya family. There's the head and the one who holds the rank of his successor, grandfather and Kraus. There's the relatives who have some pull in the business world. On the other side, you have the young cousins, who usually visit at most once a year. And again, if she wanted to stop people from finding the gold, there's easier ways to just kill everyone. Yeah, like, let me think about this for a second. So, she wants to show someone something. Makes me think she wants Battler to remember the sin of 6 years ago. So something about this epitaph might be intended to trigger this memory of the sin that Battler did 6 years ago, maybe? That's one possibility. It could also be to show the other witches above the board how brutal she can truly be. Because if you look at the dynamic between all the witches, it seems that Baron Castell and Lambda Delta stand about a head above Beatrice in the hierarchy and maybe like power level of witches. So maybe Beatrice is trying to say, hey, I really am powerful. Look how powerful I am. I'm doing all of this pomp and circumstance around these murders that show off how, you know, how powerful I can actually be. So that's another thing. Maybe she could be peacocking to try to show Burn Castell and Lambda Delta what she's really capable of. And then there's the possibility that maybe she's trying to prove something to herself. And the unfortunate servants who just happen to be on duty that day. Even the culprit hates all of us. There should be clear differences in just how much they hate some of us compared to others. So it should be possible to pick out people among us that the culprit especially wanted to terrorize or have revenge against. We liken this to a kid eating dessert. Isn't the strawberry on top of a shortcake the part you should eat last? Amogus? Pause? No one tells you that you shouldn't eat it first, but our mentality encourages us to save it for later. I might have to make a tier list one day. I have an entire hierarchy of order that I eat things. Specifically at Taco Bell. There's like a hierarchy of how you should eat your Taco Bell menu items. And I think I should actually lay that out and describe it at one point, because it's very important, and I think it makes for a much more enjoyable Taco Bell experience. There are some conditionals to it. It's actually quite complicated, but because it might take a whole stream to explain and pull up the whole menu, but I do think it's worthwhile information for the masses. In that case, the culprit would want to leave the person who hated most until the end. Who dies at the end most often? Marie? No, not Battler, really. Yeah, like that line be my favorite character. Yeah, like that line by my favorite character in this novel I like. Something about how the worst way to kill someone is to murder those close to them first. Make them as miserable as possible, and only kill the person then. Oh, that must have been quite a terrifying novel. How frightening. In that case, you could argue the people who stay alive until the end are the ones Beto hates the most. However, every single time the order people get killed gets changed around. The common denominator here, Battler, is you are alive at like the end of every one of these games. If we try counting up the people who live until the last twilight every single time, even though they do die in the end, he's realizing, I'm the only one. Let me first speak with the red. Battler isn't the culprit. Oh! That is actually huge, because that was one of my theories. That Battler was the one killing everyone, because he was never proclaimed as the detective, and he was never proclaimed as... Yeah, my theory completely out the window. He does say Battler-kun, referring specifically to this Battler. The prestige could still be on, and there could be a second Battler. But I'm imagining this probably means that Battler is in fact not the culprit. So we kind of have to go on the everyone faked their own death theory now, the Dino Spumoni theory. Battler didn't kill anyone. This can be said of all games. Then that just makes it even more likely that it's me. It means the sole reason she had for bringing about the Epitaph murders was to show them to me. Yep, I think this is to try to get him to remember the sin of however many years ago. Every time Beto brags that she'll choose whom to kill next with a roulette. However, I'm the only one she never kills. Though she does kill me in the end, she leaves me be until the very last moment. In all of those supposedly random games, there's only this one unchanging constant. He wants revenge against me? So is she performing the Epitaph murders to make me feel fear? That's wrong. Her goal is not to make someone experience fear. I do think it's that she wants him to remember. And it isn't to have revenge on someone either. Then, the Epitaph murders really don't mean anything to her. The Epitaph's riddle is meaningless, and the corresponding Epitaph murders are also meaningless. X equals Y equals 0. But even so, she's clearly trying to show these meaningless things to me. What could she want from me that would be worth the same to her as something meaningless? I don't get it. The more I think about it, the less I understand what she's thinking. Beatrice, the fickle witch who committed a meaningless, worthless string of serial murders. Even the Epitaph's riddle, which the witch used as the trigger that could suspend the serial murders, is meaningless, immaterial. And yet she's thrusting this meaningless, immaterial thing in front of my face. What is it that you want from me? Or else, what is it that you're giving me? My idea that Beatrice has clearly been taking revenge on me has already been denied by Virgilia's red truth, both X and Y. Both the Epitaph murders and the riddle hold no meaning for her. X equals Y equals 0. However, since she's thrusting those things in front of me, they must have some meaning. She showed us the scales representing, if you don't solve the epitaph, I'll carry out the epitaph murders. In other words, neither the epitaph murders nor the epitaph's riddle have any significance by themselves. However, it becomes meaningful when she puts both halves on the scale and puts them on display before us. No, before me. In other words, it should be like this. X equals 0, Y equals 0. X plus Y is greater than 0. A scale with meaningless, weightless things on both sides. However, it has weight itself and gives the rest meaning. Makes you ask the question, what's heavier, a kilogram of steel or a kilogram of feathers? It's almost like playing, like kids playing rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors is an extremely familiar method of randomly determining winner and loser. You sometimes wager some sort of reward, but steel's heavier than feathers. Yeah, I know. But they're both a kilogram. You sometimes wager some sort of reward on the outcome. But kids often do rock, paper, scissors. I don't get it. That's cheating. Look at all them feathers. But kids often do rock, paper, scissors just to play, without betting anything in particular. Unless you bet something, you have nothing to gain or lose except happiness and frustration. In other words, the two sides of the scale, both winning and losing, are immaterial. However, the very act of seeing which way it will tip is the reason kids play rock, paper, scissors. After all, the kids are enjoying the communication that surrounds the game, and they aren't purely interested in the value of winning or losing. Ah, well observed, Battler. They aren't overly concerned about who wins and who loses, they just want to start a dialogue. That would mean it doesn't matter to Beato whether the epitaph murders succeed or not. It almost feels like she's just enjoying the process. In the past, I cursed her, deciding she was a heartless witch who kept murdering people for no reason. But right now, I can't imagine that's true. Thank you. In that case, I'll give you one more line of red. Pause. Beato never committed murder for the sake of pleasure. Never committed murder for the sake of pleasure. She didn't do it for pleasure, and she didn't do it to make anyone feel fear. Since she had nothing to gain, she doesn't care whether the epitaph murders succeed or fail. It's almost like a random game kids would play. That's not right. It does have meaning. It has meaning for her. And what is that? I don't know. I don't get it. Even though both sides of the scale are immaterial, the scale itself has some weight to it in her eyes. Of course it isn't meaningless. Some meaning definitely exists. In the previous game, she urged me to remember my sin of 6 years ago. Am I supposed to believe that was meaningless too? No, that definitely isn't the case. I clearly remember the serious gaze Beato held back then. Unfortunately, I didn't have a clue what she meant. When she saw that, she was horribly dejected. That's right. At that time, I'm sure she even went so far as to say that the crime wouldn't have occurred if I hadn't come. It does have meaning. It means something to her, and it's connected to something she wants from me. I laughed softly and poked Beato lightly on the head, then patted her head. Next time, you want to send a love letter, I suggest you just write, I love you. If you make it too roundabout and confusing, no one's going to be able to figure it out. I still don't have a clue what she's thinking. Even so, I won't stop thinking. I've only just started spinning the chessboard around. I definitely won't give up this journey, on this journey in search of your thoughts. Damn. So yeah, she doesn't care about the murders. She doesn't care. She's just trying to use these murders to show something to Battler, which is likely connected to that sin of 6 years ago. I do think that is where I'm going to call it, though. I don't want to be up too late tonight. I've been kind of sleepy. We'll keep it a little shorter today. I do appreciate, as always, the company. Thank you all for joining. Next stream will be a Saturday, probably. Probably pretty late, but we might do a long one. Monday is also Labor Day, so that means Sunday will probably be a long one. So I know that's like Saturday and Sunday. So as a reminder, if you miss any of these or forget something or have an obligation, you can always catch the VOD on my YouTube. It goes up right away on the live tab as soon as I finish streaming. I also simulcast on YouTube. So if you like watching on YouTube more, like if you have YouTube Premium and stuff, thanks for the stream. Good sesh today. Yeah, I think this riddle thing might be solved fairly soon. I think I only need like one more word or two more words, and I think I might get there on this riddle. I think I have the right idea as to how to solve it. Eagerly waiting for the Taco Bell stream. Oh shit. Hold on. Wait. We can do one more. We can do one more thing before I log off. Hold on. Just some life advice. Might not be here to see the intro of another character I like. Oh. Well, you can be here on the VOD and see how I react to it. Something for y'all. One frame of the music. He heard one frame of the music and he knew. Yeah. Okay, here, hold on. This is what I will end on today. High heels, dude. I don't get it. We got another one. It's the same music every time. Oh shit, the other one's repeating. Hold on. Okay, hold on. The music is what kills me. Dude, the way turns with the ball. So Harry Potter TikTok code? Yeah. If you're down 0-1, if you're down 0-1 in the set at climax, call upon me. I will come through breakdancing to give you the matchup advice that you need to win that match. Yeah, my brain is corroded. There's no hope left for this brain. I spent it all in my earlier years. All right, where are we sending, folks? Yeah, I might actually be the most rotted brain. And then but then I'm in some discords. I was talking about this. I'm in some discords where like they're saying shit and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, bro. Like I don't know, bro. Okay, I'm gonna raid out. We'll be back on Saturday probably. So come back Saturday if you want to see more Umineko. I'm just jamming Umineko. Honestly, I'm too into it. So yeah, it's Umineko for the foreseeable future. Yomi Hustle. I'm very bad at that game. I tried playing that on a free play Fox Day one time, and I am so bad at that game. But yeah, say hi to Shiro for me, and I want to get a Rysair VT caught emote. I think that would be funny. But I'm going to head off. Y'all be good to one another. Make good choices. Stay safe. I will see y'all Saturday. Bye-bye.